Most colorists fail to replicate the Grand Budapest look because they trust their eyes instead of the data. If you try to force this aesthetic using standard saturation tools, you will just break the image structure. The secret isn't adding more color, it's understanding the subtractive science behind it. We are going to reverse engineer the entire grade using a single 9-in-1 tool, rebuilding the pipeline from a simulated log to final polish our 4 different trailer shots to prove it works. The first step is establishing the corrected starting point. We are converting our color space from Davinci White Gamma Intermediate to the Rec. 709 Gamma 2.4. Now, because we are working with the trailer's simulated log stills, you are going to see immediate degradation because 8-bit not enough for color depth, rockiness, and bending. Here is the fix most people miss. You can save any 8-bit footage with a little grain before you grade. So go to our PFA Color Suite film texture engine, increase the grain strength. It sounds backwards, but the grain acts as a theta and binding agent that remove the digital artifacting and give us a solid canvas to push the colors around without the image falling apart. Once the canvas is clean, we continue with PFA Color Suite 4.5. This brings us to a concept I call the software eye. When you look at the footage or stills, your brain corrects what you see. The software doesn't. We need to see what the math actually see. By turning on the Smart Range mask, we get a visual map of the color distribution. You might think you are looking at the red coat, but the software might be interpreting it the shifting hues that your eye may ignore. This mask reveals the truth. We use this data to narrow the range and correct the base. Notice how the shadows in the corner are being read by Davinci's AI as cyan. That introduced a cold digital feel that ruins the Wes Anderson vibe. So we use the range tool to grab those shadows and align them to the magenta and red range. So we aren't just tinting the image. We are fundamentally telling the software that these pixels belong to a different spectrum. This alignment is very crucial because if your foundation is skewed, every other adjustment you make after will amplify the mistake. Now that the base is aligned, we run into the saturation trap. If you use the standard saturation knob in Resolve, the image looks cheap. That's because digital saturation is an additive process. It increases luminance as it increases color, so making everything look thin and video-like. Film doesn't work that way. Film is subtractive. Layers of the dye block light to create color. To get that cinematic weight, we need movie density engine. Watch what happens next. When I lower the global density just by a little, the colors don't just get vibrant, they get deep. The image suddenly has that Hollywood weight to it. We are mimicking how physical film stock reacts to light. It removes the plastic digital sheen instantly. But we can go deeper than global adjustments. We can control the density of specific channels to start building our separation. For this shot, I want the background to recede and the character to pop. So I will go to the channel controls. I'm going to make the blue channel denser, pushing those background blues down in value so they feel rich and heavy. Contrast that by keeping the magenta density lighter. This creates a natural separation between the wardrobe and the set design based on the color weight, not just hue. So we haven't even touched a curve or a window yet, and we already have an image that feels like it was shot on the film rather than a digital sensor. This density foundation is what allows you to push the stylized color in the next step without the image looking like a cartoon. With our dense filmic base established, we use the 4.5 color mixer to carve out the separation. Instead of breaking the image with curves, we mimic chemical film layers by increasing the grain out of the blue channel. This creates a very distinct two-strip feel, pushing the blues towards the teal and anchoring warm tones to build that pink to build that vintage color contrast naturally. But here is the problem with heavy stylization. It usually destroys your skin tones. You turn the background teal and suddenly your actors look like a zombie. Normally, you will need a very complex power window to fix this, which slows down your workflow. We are going to bypass that completely. With SkinLatch AI, by clicking this on the mapping on, the software maps the facial tones into visual specific zones. orange, yellow, and blue. And our goal is simple: map the talent's face into the orange zone, which perfectly aligns with the skin tone line on the vector scope. If you look at the vector scope, you will see the skin align perfectly with the skin tone line, moving from reddish or pinkish values back to the natural tones. This separates the natural skin from the stylized background we just built. It's automatic isolation. You get the stylized world and the human element and perfectly separate. To really nail their Wes Anderson pop, we need to manage how these colors bleed into each other using the film separation tool. Think of this as a vector stretching engine. If you reduce it, it pulls the image back to a safe zone. But if you increase it, it stretches the color beyond the range. Here, we want that stretch. I'm increasing the distance between my magenta and my green on the vector scope. This controls the color bleeding. It forces the distinct pastel pinks of the hotel to stand apart from the greens of the uniforms. It cleans up the muddiness that usually happens when you push a grade this hard, ensuring the palette feels deliberate rather than accidental. Now, we add the nostalgia. We use film printer lights to inject a specific color cast. I'm adding a touch of green and cyan into the frame. This shifts the mood from realistic to storybook. It's a creative balancing act. If I reduce blue, I automatically increase yellow. To glue it all together, we use film fade. When you turn on the curve overlay, you can see exactly how it lifts the image gently. So we just push all the RGB value of the shadows up. We are lifting the Y gamma up. We aren't just lifting blacks, we are compressing the shadows into a milky gray. This creates the soft, expansive highlight and shadow rollout that signify cinema. The true test of grade isn't one hero shot, it's consistency across an entire timeline. So let's take Grand Budapest preset we just built and copy it to 3 completely different shots: an exterior, a dark interior, and a close-up. Pasting it onto the exterior, it holds up immediately. The density adapts to the new lighting conditions. On the interior, maybe the separation isn't aggressive enough, so I just tweak the red and cyan separation slightly. By dragging these vectors, I create a dynamic complementary contrast that fits the new interior darker scene. Core look, the density, the skin isolation, the vintage cast remains intact. We aren't rebuilding the note tree for every single clip. We are just adjusting the intensity of the preset and fine-tuning all the sliders. This proves the workflow to be mathematically sound, not just a lucky guess on one specific frame. So we replaced a complex 20-note tree with a single tool that handles density, separation, and texture simultaneously. The result is a saved Grand Budapest preset that adapts to the footage by aligning the skin tones and density mathematically, rather than relying on guesswork. You can even export this preset to sell or pass to a friend as your own asset. If you want to try this yourself, download the PFA Color Suite trial, link below, to test this preset on your own footage. I'm Nash, Passion Fuels Ambition. I will see you in the next one.